Hello, everyone, welcome back to the Impact Report. Please subscribe and like my videos. Today we uncover one of the most serious national crises unfolding in the Middle East. Iran is facing a historic collapse that combines financial breakdown, political power struggles, and growing public resistance. What started as economic frustration has now transformed into one of the most intense social and political movements in the country's modern history. Inflation is destroying savings, unemployment is growing, the national currency has lost massive value, and daily life for ordinary Iranians has become harder than ever before. At the same time, the leadership is facing unprecedented pressure from its own people, creating a dangerous situation that continues to escalate every week. Across Iran, markets are unstable, businesses are closing, and families are struggling to afford food, medicine, fuel, and housing. The Iranian rial has collapsed dramatically, making imported goods extremely expensive. Salaries no longer match the cost of living, forcing millions of people into poverty. Long queues outside bakeries, pharmacies, and fuel stations have become common sights in cities and towns. This economic suffering is not limited to one class. It is affecting shopkeepers, teachers, factory workers, students, pensioners, and even middle-class families who once lived comfortably. Interior life inside Iranian homes has changed deeply. Families now discuss survival instead of future dreams. Many parents worry about feeding their children, paying school fees, and covering medical expenses. Inside apartments and small houses, conversations revolve around rising prices, job insecurity, and fears of what tomorrow may bring. People reduce meals, delay treatments, sell valuables, and take extra work just to survive. Young people feel hopeless about finding jobs or building families. This silent pressure inside homes is one of the strongest forces pushing people to protest on the streets. As frustration grows, public performance in the streets has transformed into nationwide demonstrations. People gather in markets, universities, factories, and city centers, chanting slogans against corruption, economic mismanagement, and political restrictions. Youth movements, workers' unions, and small business owners have joined together. These protests are no longer isolated events. They are a nationwide expression of anger and disappointment. Every new price increase and currency drop adds more fuel to the fire. Safety features of the state system are being tested heavily. Security forces have been deployed in large numbers across cities. Checkpoints, patrols, roadblocks, and surveillance have increased. Internet restrictions and blackouts are used to limit communication between protesters. Authorities attempt to maintain control, but the scale of demonstrations makes it increasingly difficult to contain public anger. Tensions between citizens and security forces rise daily, making the environment more unstable and dangerous. Unique selling points of Iran as a nation, its culture, history, education system, and strong community networks, are now becoming tools of resistance. People use poetry, songs, art, and cultural gatherings to express their frustration. Universities have become centers of discussion and organization. Bazaar merchants use shop closures as protest signals. Religious and traditional spaces are also being used to share concerns and spread awareness. These social connections give the movement resilience, allowing it to survive even under pressure. The price of this crisis is not just financial. It is emotional, social, and psychological. Anxiety, depression, and fear are increasing across society. Families worry about safety, income, and the future of their children. Businesses lose trust in markets. Investors withdraw. Skilled professionals consider leaving the country. Every day that passes deepens the damage, making recovery harder and more expensive. The power struggle inside the government is another major layer of this crisis. Political factions disagree on how to handle protests and economic reforms. Some leaders push for stronger enforcement and control, while others argue that reforms and negotiations are necessary to calm public anger. This internal conflict weakens decision-making and slows solutions. Meanwhile, people feel that their voices are ignored, increasing resentment. Iran's situation also affects regional stability. Neighbors and global markets monitor the unrest closely. Energy exports, trade routes, and political alliances could all be influenced by prolonged instability. Any major change inside Iran would have ripple effects across the Middle East. Despite the risks, protests continue. The people believe silence is no longer an option. They want economic justice, transparency, accountability, and a future that offers opportunity instead of fear. Whether reforms come or not, Iran has entered a historical turning point. The conclusion is clear: Iran's crisis is not temporary. It is deep, complex, and rooted in economic collapse, political power struggles, and public awakening. The nation stands at a crossroads. The next steps taken by leadership and by the people will shape Iran's future for decades to come.